Well, welcome back. Happy Soul Sunday to you all, whether you're listening to this live with me or on the replay. I just want to congratulate you for staying the path as fierce, wild medicine woman, deeply rooted into your work and the basics of what I am so grateful that you came in to join me in this messy experiment that we are all creating together. And how's it been for you? As you've started to look at how you are able to stay connected to the heart in times of uncertainty and chaos with these tools of the medicine wheel and the 5 elements, the feeding cycle that we have been touching on, so that you can start to create flow and really start to turn your dreams into physical manifestation and use it for the greater good of everyone. So today, the remaining magic words really orient us in the world. So we have good, strong relationships with the world around us by accessing this point. And this is our chi moving in and out, our personal energy being restored and renewed by the big chi of the world around us. And when we use these magic words without a healthy yes and no, have you seen how we start to offer false apologies? We all know that it just makes things a whole lot worse. Or we say please without any real openness to the fact that that person or thing might not want to. And we use magic words without any strong grounding in yes and no. This is where our gratitude falls flat or leaves the person feeling like they need to take a shower after they've fawned all over you with false gratitude. So without the yes and no base, these other 3 magic words don't work so well. And there is, by the way, plenty about this in my YouTube channel. So in short, just remember the yes and the no gives you an identity that's kind and caring while being very decisive and honest. And this sense of identity is necessary. It's really predicated on that relationship with yourself. So honestly, if you want to change what's unacceptable in the world out there, we have to create this basic foundation within ourselves, which is the shadow work and going deep down to the root. So let's carry on with appreciation or gratitude, which is really the opportunity to give heart-opening thanks and speaks to joy and honor and sincerity. And it's very akin to the relationship of the element of fire in Chinese medicine that is related to the heart, the pericardium, and the small intestine. And when we've cultivated this ability to express gratitude, this is when we engage in joy, which opens us up to creativity and enthusiasm and our spirit. And when we're engaged in this way, this is where we are further open to the divine, to trusting in the universe and the radiance and to light and these higher spiritual concepts. And it really is, I think, the idea of divine radiance and light are present at all times, and that we have to orient ourselves properly to engage in this sincerely and with great reverence, with honor. I think that's really what appreciation or choosing to orient yourself in gratitude does relative to the higher divine energies. And when we're deficient in heart energy, this is where our appreciation and gratitude is lost in unhappiness and impatience, and there's a dissatisfaction around the world, and our ling is always overexpressed and our shen is underexpressed. So in other words, the inner spirit of our heart, the ling, is overacting, but the shen spirit isn't able to take it out into the world and do anything with it. So the shen spirit is underactive. And so appreciation, gratitude helps us to be in more balance, because when we're excessive in our heart energy, or gratitude is lost in sort of over the top expressions, just too much. Remember, this is the same thing that I say over and over again: what you appreciate. So whether you're going into under or over, or these mental constructs of limitation, or whether you're going up toward the light in appreciation, you're going to get more of whatever it is that your thoughts create, you become. It becomes your reality. So you have to look at where you're in appreciation or not. And, you know, when you're giving too much information and you're making other people uncomfortable, this is when you know that you are over, because there's a dishonesty with one's own heart in that situation. So the oversharing is overshame. You know, your external heart spirit is too big in the world, and it's not really listening to what the guiding energy of the ling, the spirit of the heart, or the personal spirit of the heart is saying. So this excess and dishonesty can lead to arrogance and cruelty and even violence, right? This is the fire energy. And when we start to sort of keep in mind that we can also be expressing that kind of dishonesty and arrogance and cruelty internally, so we're turning it inward. So when we're in a relationship of giving and receiving, gratitude is, and it's in balance, this is where we go into the lover archetype, and the wisdom of love, the true power of love moves through us as an inspiration, not as a memorization, not as just a mantra that you do. So some journey questions that you can ask is to journey to meet the spirit of fire and ask to be shown how to understand where you may be out of balance with fire and how you can work with the fire element to create balance. And you can journey to your regular helping spirits to look at where your appreciation is deficient or appreciation is excessive. And you can ask, what is the current quality of your relationship with the ling spirit? And then you can journey to the spirit of your heart and look at what is the quality of your shen with your spirit. So learning to say please requires you to be open and willing to receive a yes, which you're all getting beautifully. And please speaks to the courage of speaking up and letting go of the expectation or outcome, right? And your relationship with the metal or the air, which in Chinese medicine is lung, large intestine. And cultivating healthy relationships with please requires that you make space or create emptiness within you by grieving fully and letting go. When we're healthy, we experience loss in life. Risks happen. It's part of being human. When we care, we lose things, and that's what this is all about. So risks are important, you know, risking to say no, where maybe you wouldn't in the past because you were afraid of losing someone or something. So this energy is really about the ability to grieve and the ability to let go and take the risks that you might lose something, so that you can be in an honest, full expression with yourself, in spite of the fact that that expression may close some doors. So if you're not experiencing loss, then you're not growing and you're not loving. And what's critical here, especially if you're going to let go of the old stories and move into that luminal space between stories and onto new stories, is that we have to learn to grieve fully and freely and let go of what has been, so that when we are unable or willing to grieve or let go or to say please, we cultivate a life of regrets and sorrow and very low self-esteem, because the sadness starts to come in even on the good stuff. And when we're excessive on this is where we cultivate a very aloof stance, an expectation of perfection, and a very cynical attitude that undermines our gratitude and connection. And I know we've all been there. So just know that when the please is coming from a healthy place, a very balanced place, we cultivate self-worth and self-esteem and intuition. And it comes from breath and life, and not from judgment and pulling other people apart. So you could journey to the spirit of metal, the element of metal, and be asked to show you where you're out of balance with this and how you can work with the metal element to come back into right relationship and balance. You could also ask, what can I surrender and let go of to come back into balance? And you could also journey to your regular healthy helping spirits and ask to be shown what you must surrender to know emptiness within you. And then look at what must you find the courage to say please to. So big breath, because the one last magic word and the most powerful one is I am sorry. You know, that speaks to trust in the face of fear and the unknown. And it's akin to our relationship with the element of water. In Chinese medicine, this is the gallbladder, the bladder and the kidneys. So when we can say sorry in a true apology of our understanding of past errors and our commitment to take a new path, when we can do this, that's where we cultivate true courage, which holds within it stillness, razor sharp awareness, and a gentleness. And when we're unable to offer a true apology, this is where we cultivate a relationship with fear and anxiety, and it becomes paralysis and depression. So when we're excessive in our fearlessness, this is where we cultivate right relationship and full wholehearted decisions and discernment, and we don't pay attention to collateral damage of excesses caused, because everybody's just making their own decisions and you're not responsible for that. And when we can make a sincere and true apology whenever they are warranted, it shows us a clarity of our true responsibilities in life as we exercise that responsibility. That's when we cultivate true bravery, right? Trusting in the universe to take the risks necessary to rise to the challenges of our time. So some journey questions could be to ask to go to the spirit of water and be shown some ways to understand where you're out of balance with water and how you can work with water to create balance. You could journey to your helping spirits to be asked to show where you're afraid to take the necessary risks to bring your gifts into the world. And you could also journey to those same helping spirits and look at where you're lacking trust in yourself, or perhaps you have collapses or weaknesses in your courage that are keeping you from honestly expressing your true self in each day. So these are the basics. Yes, no, thank you, please, and most importantly is learning I'm sorry, which goes with forgiveness, right? Because we are better than this, and we must become immune to Watika. We have to be unseducible by that virus of the mind and prove it. So I know that was a lot, and we've done it in a really, really short period of time. But I know you guys get it, and I'm not seeing any comments up here today from any of you. So just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, or if this is making any sense, because I think that normally we think that we have to create our own reality, and that we have to try hard and accomplish this and that and the other. And as we were all sort of admitted to being recovering perfectionists, that this can sometimes be a challenge for us when we're mastering that living energy of using these 5 magic words. It takes time. So I think that the most important part of all of this, and what you've all been experiencing as you go through this journey work over the last couple of weeks, is that you have to be willing to be persistent and patient and persevere when you think that nothing is working or nothing is changing, to go back to these basics, because they will never take you wrong. And your body, as you're all starting to discover with great delight, I hope, is always going to be your greatest consciousness facilitator. Your body will always make you right. So again, it comes down to choice rather than creation, because all of those energies exist in the present moment at a different vibrational frequency. So, this is what's key, is that what makes certain realities more probable are the choices that we make in the present through the way that we're spelling things into physical actualization. So since the reality we want to experience right now already exists, we don't have to create anything. And I think this is where very well-meaning people in life transformational industry are leaving out these basics, which I spoke to the other day. Just because you choose it with the awareness that it already exists makes everything so much easier, doesn't it? So, here's another exercise that I think will add a ton of value to you. And I capitalize on ton to emphasize how powerful going into the basics and living from that is not going to get you to spin out into overwhelm, right? Anytime you're overwhelmed or you're confused, just know that you are needing more information. So journey to your helping spirits and ask them, what information do I need to know that if I know it will change this for me? And I think I want you to just also know and really trust that you are always the best version of you. What would you be doing in your ideal reality, if you get out of wetoo, you get out of the old stories, you let them die, you grieve them well so that you can die well, right? We have to be willing to live well in order to die well. So rather do this work now when we have a lot of personal chi in our bodies than when we're depleted and on our deathbeds. So really go into this and into the rest of your life imagining as if it has already happened, right? What if you were everywhere and everything that you've always known you were, rather than going to the lack of where you think you aren't? You know, how would you be interacting differently, using the deal and deliver, being the quiet observer with nothing to hide and nothing to prove? What emotions would you be feeling, and how would you view yourself then? And what is your body language saying? Are you in coherence with your body being true to the words that are coming out of your mouth? Because all of the questions that you ask, it's not just about asking questions, it's about asking generative questions that are going to always be there to support you in tapping into the best version of you, which already exists. So begin to make the same choices as that version of you. And then you'll start to see yourself as that version. And then your brain, right, that you've employed, and your nervous system get to lay down new neural pathways to come back and meet you where you are. So, you know, that's what I want for you. And I don't want to go into any more right now, but I hope that you have gotten value out of this, and that you're actually starting to realize that you've always had this potency. You've always had this power within you to create based on the choices that you're making, right? It's intentional creativity that's always going to lead you into that highest version of living, into a legacy that you can die well knowing that you made a difference, that you mattered, that what you continually showed up and gave to others generously is all that you need to do, is be you, be the authority of your own life. So those are the 5 words. And I know it's Sunday night, so again, I'm restraining myself from going into so much more depth of the 5 elements and the feeding cycle and the compass directions. And I know some of you are interested in going deeper into that. So what I was thinking of doing, and you can just tell me if you've enjoyed this, if you've loved this, if you've got some benefit out of this. First of all, would you be willing to share that with me, and be that invitation for others to choose it? And would you be willing to continue to do the work and know that you have the support? You can pull on this red thread anytime that you want and come back into this as and when you feel called, and that you have all these beautiful teammates in physical bodies, and your spirit guides and your animal guides to support you. So ask for what you want and be willing to receive it, because we can go so much further together than apart. And I'm just so deeply appreciative of you being here and doing the work and being willing to go into the uncomfortable realms where most people want to bypass it, because you know that that's the only way to stay in trust as things get more uncertain and more chaotic, which they're going to do. And that you are playing a very important part in how we start to pioneer a new way of doing heart-based life and heart-based business in our relationships. Remember, money comes through people. So as long as that is going to be the way that we exchange services and gifts in the world, then we need to be able to come into right relationship with that and create our own economy, no matter what's going on in the world around us. And I'm just going to sort of sit on this, but I'll throw it out there to you for some feedback. If you'd be interested in doing a slightly longer like 35, 45, 50, maybe 60 minutes, and really looking at this from a money making or manifestation and abundance webinar, where I give you some more pragmatic and simple tools. If it's not simple, it's not the trust process, let me know, and I'll put that together for you, because I love you being part of my tribe. And at the end of the day, if you weren't here, I would be speaking to myself, and that wouldn't feel so good. So my ego wants what it wants, and I love being here with you. So if that sounds like something you'd like, keep posting and commenting in the group. I'll be checking in here from time to time. Otherwise, join me over on one of my other Facebook pages, either my business page or my personal page, where I do these sort of spontaneous Facebook Lives from time to time. And also, I hope that you'll join me on the 8th of August on the Lionsgate portal. I've invited a beloved love warrior, friend of mine, Alicia Evans, to join me as she brings white wolf medicine in from the Northern Hemisphere to join in Sirius, the dog star, and this Leo constellation that's lining up with the white lines of Timbavati, to really help amplify these energies and bring more people into the light, which you're light workers, you're lighthouses, and you're doing that already. So if that sounds like fun, please join us. I have no idea where we're going to go with it, but we're really just going to hold this beautiful container of light to do some prayer and some meditation and some invocation to really deeply root down into these new energies before the eclipse on the 11th. So again, thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for going back to the basics with me. Please share your comments, your questions. Give me some feedback to whether you found this worthy of your precious time and your money investment that you made towards feeding the furballs in Durban. And let me know what else you need. And just know you are so loved. I love you. I'm so, so happy to be on this journey with you. And I'll see you soon. All right. Lots of love. Bye. Mwah.